Well, as the world scrambles to get a grip on the emerging threat of the new COVID-19 variant Omicron that originated in South Africa, vaccine makers across the globe are going back to their labs to work on an Omicron-specific vaccine. Now, joining me this afternoon on this special broadcast from Moscow is Mr. Kirill Dmitriev. He's the CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, which is behind the Sputnik V and the Sputnik Light vaccines. Good afternoon, Mr. Dmitriev. Thank you very much for speaking to us on Republic TV.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Mr. Dmitriev, the world really is on the edge after this new variant was reported from South Africa and declared a variant of concern. How do you see this emerging situation?
Well, first of all, I think we have several key points. We believe that Sputnik and Sputnik Light has so far been very efficient in fighting all of the existing mutations. Frankly, it's shown to be one of the most efficient vaccines in the world. So we are doing studies right now, but our scientists believe there is high likelihood that Sputnik V and Sputnik Light will neutralize Omicron variant. Secondly, it's still not proven that Omicron is actually more dangerous than Delta variant. So, of course, it's spreading faster, but we don't know the severity of the disease. And it's also possible it causes stronger disease, but it's also possible it may be causing lighter disease, as some of the South African doctors are saying. So we need to study Omicron more. And in 3 weeks, we'll have more definitive information on Omicron. But at the same time, we already started manufacturing short. We do it every time when there is, a new significant variant. So just in case a new shot, modified shot of Sputnik Light or Sputnik V needs to happen, it will be ready already in February. And by the way, India, as the main production hub of Sputnik, will be producing Omicron, version if needed.
Right, so Mr. Dmitriev, what you're essentially saying is that at the moment, though you are extremely confident that Sputnik V and Sputnik Light will hold against this new variant, in case the new mutations are found to escape the immune system or the response that's generated by these vaccines, how quickly do you think you'll be able to develop a booster and essentially get it to hit supply chains across the world?
So once again, in the unlikely case, we need to launch a modified booster. We'll be able to put it in production already in 45 days. And we will deliver 100 million and more of booster Omicron vaccine already by February 20th. And we believe that some of it can be produced in India because, Serum Institute is our great partner in India with 5 other producers in India. And India is one of the main production hubs of Sputnik. But once again, we don't necessarily believe this is going to be needed, as it's very likely that Sputnik and Sputnik Light will be able to deal with Omicron just as efficiently as it has dealt with Delta. And one data point I will mention, in Hungary, just last week Hungary released data that Sputnik was the most efficient out of 5 vaccines in protecting people from deaths from COVID. And we believe that it's a very potent, strong vaccine. And if some vaccine can fight Omicron, then definitely Sputnik can.
Right now, Mr. Dmitriev, reports suggest that this variant, which within a week of its discovery has already spread across the world, has very high transmissibility and could threaten to overwhelm medical infrastructure once again. Do you think that those fears are well-founded, or is the world reacting perhaps a bit too quickly?
Well, I think there is a reaction that is frankly a bit too quick, because we need to study Omicron variant. It's still not clear that it will overshadow Delta, and we'll just have to study it. It will take 3 weeks. I think there is a bigger problem happening in Europe right now, where there is a huge explosion of cases because mRNA vaccine, and Pfizer specifically, is waning in efficacy in 5-6 months. So based on Swedish data, Pfizer is efficient only 30% after 6 months of vaccination. And this is causing a huge surge of infections in Europe. And frankly, right now, this is a much bigger issue that the world is facing than Omicron. But somehow media is not talking too much about it. But we have a solution for this issue. And the solution is a combination of mRNA vaccine with Sputnik vaccine or AstraZeneca vaccine or Covishield vaccine or other vaccines, because we believe that combination of different vaccines can help mRNA vaccines to last longer and protect people longer. And that is frankly the most important issue the world is facing right now, but very few people talk about it.
Right, Mr. Dmitriev, as you're pointing out, the larger problem at this point in time that the world seems to be facing is that not enough people are willing to go ahead and get vaccinated. Now, how do you think, countries around the world and governments especially need to deal with that? Because as you yourself pointed out, in Europe, there is an overwhelming surge in the pandemic because vaccines, perhaps are lower efficacy, and also a lot of people are not willing to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I think you're raising a very good point, and it's very important to be honest, because when people understand honesty, they get information and they do the right thing. And I think there is just lack of honesty on the waning efficacy of mRNA vaccine, because the surge in Europe is not just because people are not getting vaccinated. We believe for the most part, it's because mRNA vaccines are waning in efficacy and need a booster by another vaccine. So I think it's very important not to hide this problem and try to look at it in a let's forget about it. I think we need to deal with it very directly. By the way, Covishield, we believe, will also be a great booster for mRNA vaccines, and we have to address this problem very specifically. But secondly, of course, we need to share data that vaccinations work. And for example, Sputnik showed if you get vaccinated in Hungary with Sputnik, your risk of dying from COVID is 130 times less than if you don't get vaccinated, because Sputnik has 98% efficacy against death. And I think sharing the specific data, which is not Russian data, it's EU member Hungary having separate research, is very important. And by the way, I believe India has done really great work on defeating COVID. And it's not only about 1 billion shots, it's having a great production capacity, it's having Prime Minister Modi and government very focused on communicating with people and making it easy for them to get vaccinated. So frankly, I believe India is a great example, probably one of the greatest examples in the world of very efficient, successful vaccination campaign, and the world needs to learn from Indian approach.
Absolutely. Mr. Dmitriev, now, do you feel that boosters against this COVID-19 virus will now become the norm as new and new variants are founded? Because, that is one of the things that we've been seeing so far.
Definitely. So we believe boosters are important now, particularly for mRNA vaccines, because they don't last more than 6 months, so it's an urgent issue. But also, we believe in universal boosters. So, for example, Sputnik Light, our one-shot vaccine, by the way, we hope to get it approved in India in the next couple of weeks, was yesterday approved in UAE as universal booster shot for other vaccines, and in Philippines and in many other nations. So I think we are going to go to the world where people will understand a combination of different vaccines works best and better than the same shots of the same vaccine over and over again. And we'll be living in this world of different vaccines boosting each other. And we have a great study in Argentina that shows, for example, Sputnik Light boosts Sinopharm vaccine 10 times on antibody and T-cell response. So boosters are going to be part of our life, at least annual boosters. They can be modified to the most important variant of concern in this year. And we will definitely have combination of different vaccines, including Covishield, boosting other vaccines, and this is the way of the future.
All right, Mr. Dmitriev, appreciate your speaking to us on Republic TV and joining us for this broadcast. Thank you very much.